Hey everybody, it's Leroy from Leroy Gaming back with another Tiny Tina Wonderlands video. We are continuing to look at the recently revealed passive skill trees for all 6 classes. In this video, we're going to be looking at the Spellshot. Now, as with my previous videos, I'm going to have timestamps below to help you navigate the video to focus in on what you're interested in. For those that are new, I will give a quick class overview. I'm going to overview the class feat as well as abilities so you know what we're referencing when they talk about the various abilities and features and the passive skill tree. So if you're interested in that, you can watch all the way through. But if you want to jump straight to the passive skill tree, you can use timestamp to do that. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at everything we need to know about the Spellshot. All right, we're going to start with the class overview. So the spell shots are all about combining spells with guns. Able to equip 2 spells. Their Spellweaving ability increases spell damage and fire rate as they cast spells or reload, allowing them to seamlessly cycle between different methods of dealing damage. When enemies get too rowdy, their Polymorph ability can take an enemy out of the fight by transforming them into harmless sheep. Skeep, rather. I wonder if that's supposed to be sheep or skeep, but they said skeep. Now I want to emphasize here what's very unique about this class. Unlike any other class, you can have 2 of your spells / abilities equipped. So this has been seen before in other Borderlands classes, but in this game, every other class baseline, even though they get access to 2 abilities and then 4 if you multi-class, you can only equip 1. Well, here you're going to have access to 2. And speaking of which, let's take a look at the class feat. So for the Spellshot, the class feat is called Spellweaving. Casting a spell or reloading a weapon grants the Spellshot a stack of Spellweaving, increasing spell damage. Spellweaving stacks automatically decay after a few seconds. Casting a repeating spell has a chance to award additional Spellweaving stacks of each repeating cast. So this is very, very interesting. Again, it just feeds into that synergy of swapping between shooting guns and reloading. Now, I'm assuming you could either pre-reload or just use guns that have small ammo capacity. Either way, reloading more often and then swapping between reloading and casting spells is going to really help you get the most out of this class. Now let's take a look at the action skills. So the first one is Ambidextrous. The Spellshot may equip a spell into their action skill slot. Whenever the Spellshot presses the action skill button, they cast that spell. I'm curious to see how this will work with multi-classing. So potentially getting access to spells from other classes in addition to the action skills / spells in this game. So it'll be very, very interesting how this can work out, give you a wider variety of spell options than any other class. Now your other option here is Polymorph. So the Spellshot turns an enemy into a skeep for a few seconds. If the enemy is immune, the Spellshot instantly casts a free spell on that enemy and gains 2 free stacks of Spellweaving. While Polymorph is active, any player that damages the skeep has a chance to cast a free spell. That's really cool. The effect is guaranteed the first time the Fate Maker deals fire damage. Notice when the Fate Maker, so other people have a chance, here the main character is going to get that guaranteed when you do fire gun damage, and then it looks like there's a chance afterwards. If the Spellshot casts a free spell this way, they gain a stack of Spellweaving. So again, feeds into that synergy, casting, shooting, and then obviously the reloading element as well. So this is very, very cool. All right, now the main event, and we're talking passive skills now. So we're going to start with tier 1 with Spell Sniper. This is 5 points max commitment. You gain increased spell critical hit chance. So critting is always great. Love the idea of increasing any kind of crit hit chance. Curious to see how much this is, what the points per point or crit hit chance increase per point allotted is going to be, but I could see this being quite potent. Next, we have a 3-point max in magic bullets. A portion of all bonuses the Fate Maker receives to spell damage is applied to their guns. So again, there is a distinction in this game between spell damage and gun damage. I'm curious to how this is going to synergize with ability damage. So will ability damage synergize with spell damage? Is it going to be completely separate? I'm not 100% sure yet. But obviously with the Spellshot, you are going to be leaning in heavily into increasing the power of your spells in general. And then next we have Prestidigitation. You increase your reload speed. Now, normally I'm not a huge fan of reload skills on characters, but because this build is all about reloading, this could be quite potent, especially if you have a weapon I use that unfortunately has a low reload speed. This percentage-based increase should have a much bigger impact. So, not sure yet, but this could be useful on like 90% of the time when I find reload skills to be absolutely useless, but I could be wrong. It could be useless as usual. We'll have to wait and see. All right, next we have tier 2. First one is Font of Mana, 5 points max. You gain increased spell cooldown rate, gain increased action skill cooldown rate. So this kind of really emphasizes the distinction, the difference between spell cooldowns and action skill cooldowns. Now do note the multi-hextrus feature of this class lets you use a second spell as an action skill. So I'm interested to how this interacts. Is that second option count as an action skill or a spell skill? Will both of these apply to that or only one or the other? Be interesting if this could be gamed or not. But no matter what, I love the increases to skill cooldown rates. The more often you can cast spells and your abilities, I find it makes it so much more fun in these games. So to me, this is probably going to be a must get. And I feel like for most people, I think this is going to be a pretty popular option. And the next we have Mage Armor. Gotta love Mage Armor, D&D throwbacks, of course. Only 1 point commitment needed. Whenever the Fate Maker gains a stack of Spellweaving, they restore a portion of their ward. Really like this for ward builds. So again, previously we had looked at the Clawbringer. That's all about increasing max ward. I could see that comboing really well with the Spellshot, for example, if you're going to go for a max ward build. And then we have Just Warming Up, 5 point max, gains increased fire rate for every Spellweaving stack. Again, just feeding the flame here of the rapid fire destruction when it comes to your gun damage when synergizing with spells. Really, really liking how these passives are working together so far. All right, next we have one only tier 3 passive here, Glass Cannon, 1 point max. The Fatebringer ward no longer automatically recharges, but they gain drastically increased spell damage. Now notice it says automatically, so that tier 2 passive we looked at should still increase this. I just see this as a very, very popular option. I could also see people going and comboing this class with a high health build where you don't care about the ward as much. Pick this up just so you get a huge increase to spell damage and just really say, okay, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice the ward. There generally has been shield items in the game in Borderlands 3 and so forth. And in those shields, sometimes they'll make it where you sacrifice all your ward or shielding / warding in this game in order to increase your max health. And I could see those synergizing really, really well here. So really like this tier 3 1 point Glass Cannon feature. All right, next we have tier 4. And the first thing here is Imbued Weapon, 5 point max commitment for this one. Whenever the Fate Maker casts a spell, their guns deal bonus damage of that spell's element for a short time. This effect stacks once per spell. So this is fascinating. Curious to see how much of a gun damage on this is. Definitely, I could see very specific elemental builds for your class. It will give you interesting options when choosing multi-classing as well, where maybe you focus all on lightning damage or all on fire damage and synergize across the different class features. So I definitely think this is interesting, and I think this could have a variety of uses when it comes to min-maxing and synergizing elements of multi-classes. Next, we have high thread count, 1 point max. Love the reference here. Gain increased max spellweaving stacks. This very often in builds that have these kind of stacking effects is a must choose. It's only 1 point. I believe in Borderlands 3 was I think it was a Mara that had kind of multiple effects that had multi-stacks, and being able to increase the max stacks was big, and it really exponentially increased her capacity. So having more spellweaving stacks, I think, is going to be a must get here. That's going to be my prediction. All right, and finally we have Warcaster in this tier, 5 point max. This is the first kill skill for this class, and whenever the Fate Maker kills an enemy, the chance their weapon is instantly reloaded. This chance is increased per spellweaving stack. And because this game is all about reloading, this is fascinating. Normally, doing putting points into something that just reloads your weapon doesn't seem like the best investment. But here, because of synergy with the spellweaving stacks, this could be huge. And the fact that you can synergize high thread count, get spellweaving stacks nice and high, increasing this chance, it's going to allow you to instantly proc, keep firing guns. It's going to keep increasing that synergy of this class that relies on reloading weapons. And especially if you're using guns that have a very slow reload rate, if you can get this to be relatively effective where you're not having to manually reload, this could be really, really powerful. This just sounds like really fun synergy. I'm loving this, along with most of the passive so far. All right, next we get the penultimate tier 5, and we start with Double Knot, 3 point max here. Whenever you score a critical hit with a spell, deal bonus damage equal to your gun's element. So, curious to see what that means by your gun's element. I'm guessing your multiplier for your elemental damage. Now, we have that tier 1 passive that increases your critical hit chance with spells. So, this could synergize really well with that. Curious to see if there's going to be items that you get that increase your critical hit chance of spells specifically. That could be an interesting stack for this class. And then we have 1 slot, 1 kill, like that, 1 point max. Gain increase gun damage per spellweaving stack. Again, really synergizing with maxing out those spellweaving stacks and coming back to your gunplay. So really, really cool 1 point slot. I guess it's going to be quite good, especially for 1 point. And then finally, we have tier 6, Sever the Thread, 1 point max. Gun critical hits have a chance to instantly reset all spell cooldowns. This skill has a short cooldown. Love this. I'm going to call it that, like, for spell shots, synergizing with another class that maybe increases your hit chance with guns. This class already has passive buffs to spell critical hit chance. It has special effects when you crit hit with with spells. Now you have an ability to reset spells when you crit hit with guns. This is huge. Obviously, you can control gun critical hits by hitting weak spots. So this is great. This is an absolutely amazing ultimate capstone. And because you want to be reloading and casting spells as much as possible, this is going to be an amazing class, especially with a high skill ceiling. If you can spam and hit critical hit spots on enemies effectively, you can really get a lot of this. Obviously, there's going to be a cooldown. The definition of what a short cooldown is differs because you can spam critical hits. Obviously, it doesn't let you just nonstop spam spells right after you spam, like, you know, an eye critical hit spot on a boss that's easy to hit. But it's still going to let you cast spells constantly. So this is amazing. Overall, I feel really, really strongly about the Spellshot. I think this is going to be an amazing class for a primary. I'm curious to see how effective it's going to be as a secondary as well. But very, very cool, very powerful. All right, guys, I hope you guys found this video helpful. If you did, as always, like and a comment helps with the YouTube algorithm tremendously. And if you like this kind of content I have and want to see more, obviously you can subscribe. I cover looter shooters, RPGs, and sometimes indie games, depending on how I'm feeling. So that is the focus of the channel. You can also find the information on our Discord below. We have a great little community that's been growing over the last few months. And you will be able to check me out streaming on Twitch at twitch.tv/LeeroyGamingStream. Right now I've been altering between YouTube and Twitch a little bit. This is definitely a game that I'm going to want to be playing with fans when it comes out, when multiplayer. So look forward to that in the future. And with that being said, guys, thank you again for all the support, and I will see you guys in the next video.